Yeah.
Plus, people that try to report other people like that tend to have quite a few skeletons in their own closet. And then what
Well,
happens is, it comes back to you.
here's the saying I always tell people, and I think it's hard to argue with, is that if you're going to judge people by every word that's come out of their mouth for their whole lives, just look in the mirror and start with that person. Because if you think that you're fit to judge others for things that they say, then you need to figure out if are you fit to you be judged too. And nobody passes that test. So we have this whole society of people that sanctimonious people that think that they're perfect and they're obviously not, trying to get other people in trouble for things that they say, and like they've said stuff in their past too that I think that they'd probably like to apologize for. I just don't. I have very little respect for people like that. I don't understand what the point is. If somebody says something I disagree with, it's like I'm gonna try and get you fired. Come on, that's ridiculous.
But do you think though that because it seems like with AEW especially, which I'm a big fan of, they first went with JR and that didn't work, and then there was the Nyla Rose shit and that didn't work. So it just seems like they always need an issue. And could Tony Schiavone doing like Asian voices on the podcast be the thing that gets him fired?
I don't know.
Is that what he was doing? Imitating Asian people? Is that what he was doing?
Yeah.
That's probably going to get him heat.
Make some dirty jokes and shit like that. They basically do like a comedy show, like a risque comedy show. So, but I don't.
Tony Schiavone's they don't talk about wrestling. It's a comedy show.
They do, but it's very, very like just like that, like a risque comedy, like commenting on matches. It's not like Eric's show where it's kind of business and serious.
So the AEW fan base got on Conrad.
No, I'm saying that they might come after them because they'll need an issue soon.
New scapegoat.
Well, 1,000% they will.
But it's like as well, Conan. They tried to go after Jericho for having fucking what's the guy's name?
Trump Jr.
Yeah, Trump Jr. on, and they were all trying to call him. Oh, he's a racist. He's a Nazi. Supporting all that shit.
Did you hear when we had Jericho on or no?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's one of the things that we discussed. One of the things that I do hate is as you know, I'm apolitical, but what I do hate about the left, and there's a lot of things I hate about the right too, but I do hate about the left is the hypocrisy of you got to do it their way. Or if not, it's okay for them to bully you. Okay, so they don't like to be bullied, but if you don't follow their mantra, they will bully the fuck out of you, and they'll try to get you canceled. Fucking, that's mob mentality where you're getting fired and shit like that. What I don't like about them is they won't talk to the right. And so what I did like about Jericho is he had Trump on. He spoke to him. He's an important person in politics. Doesn't matter if Trump's a dickhead, which he is, but he fucking had a discussion with him. There's nothing wrong having a discussion with your opposition as long as it's civil.
I think
I just talked to Disco.
Right.
Listen to this.
Exactly.
Listen to this.
Disco, you worked a fucking show that I was fucking fired from because of porn.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, they fired you for being. They should have hired you. You put a draw.
No, because some parent, aka some salty person's mom, called up and like.
I can tell you who it was. Want me to tell you who it was?
No, don't say it out loud.
Friend of the show, Jay George. Go ahead.
No, he didn't get me fired.
He confided in me when he drove me back to the airport that he was behind that. He got you fired.
Yeah.
No,
yeah. Felicia, I meant.
Listen,
George and
I could be either broken up or fucking back together, but I would never talk shit about him. He's always been one of the most loyal people, even when we broke up. So shut up about that.
Hey,
we're busting his balls. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Hughley.
I was just going to join in, but you cut me off. Never mind.
All right, so the next one's from Matt Moore.
Yeah.
Matt Moore, and the subject is leg slaps. What's up, guys? Day one listener here. First off, Disco is a man of his word and took great care of me when I was at Sapphires in February as I followed protocol. I've watched wrestling for over 30 years. The biggest problem I have with the product across the board is the blatant leg slaps. I'm sorry to see even the guy who is taking the punch kick form slap his thigh when getting hit. Conan, working as closely to town as you do, what do you tell them about these egregious leg slaps? Keep the great content coming, guys. Matt from the 423. That's Chattanooga, Tennessee, by the way.
Bro, I hate that. It's fucking brutal. And the thing is that you get so many. Here's a problem you're having with wrestling now. Before any guy came into a big company, he was usually like in the territories for about 8 to 10 years, so he came in with a lot of experience. Now what you're getting is you have so many people. It's so easy to get into the wrestling industry. You have a lot of untrained, semi-trained, badly trained wrestlers coming in. Of course, there's well-trained ones too, but there's a humongous amount that's just not ready, and they're coming in with all these bad habits, like slapping their legs for every single thing, and it's very hard to get rid of.
That's true.
But Shawn Michaels never fucking slapped his leg when he did the super kick.
And if he did, he hit it. Like you couldn't see him just blatantly just.
Yeah.
People literally do this when they slap their legs. They bring their arm up and slap it down on their leg. Like who can't see that? It's like the
They
dumbest thing.
slap
Like,
it down.
yeah, I said seriously, that's what they do. It's like guys, it's like
You
can't
gave
you
it a
pick?
new onomatopoeia.
Yeah, I'm like
Slapping
come on.
it
It's
down.
like then that's the biggest problem in wrestling today is that we basically fast tracked a bunch of new moves into the business. Okay, and wrestling's very artsy these days, and like if you look at the way people lay out matches, they try to come up with this new, different, creative spot, or like a takeoff of one they've seen and everything. But the problem that usually required for these things is the guys have to work with each other to do it. And since they just want to do it and don't really practice it, they don't hide the cooperation and the legs. They don't hide anything. So everything is like blatantly out in the open, and like you see them in the
Like
middle of this.
I'll give you an example of that. Back in the day, like if you wanted to talk to somebody, you got them in the corner or you got them in a hold, and you put your head down and your hair would come over your face, or you'd hide it in a way where you couldn't. Today they're just talking out in the fucking open. I'm like,
Yeah.
bro, people do see you. I mean,
Yeah.
part of the
At
fucking
least learn
art.
to like not move your lips or something.
Right.
Like
Art
talk with your
is
teeth
right.
grit.
Part of the art is people not knowing that you're talking, that you're in on this, even if they do know now that it's no longer like they used to try to sell it before, like it was real, but at least let them be able to suspend disbelief. And you don't do that when you're talking fucking out loud and they can hear you in the fucking first row.
You know what it's like? It's like we grew up learning a way where you kind of have to protect the business, and it's like this new government regulation came on. They took away the protections, so now everybody just goes out and just does everything. Because like nobody's really being trained to protect to try to hide stuff and like hide the cooperate. People like they really aren't even learning that.
And
They're
like
just learning how to do all these moves.
And I'll give you an example. Like before, especially in Mexico, you had to actually, they would get like old school wrestlers and you would have to pass a test. You would have to go through them for them to give you a license to be a wrestler. But now, with so many wrestling schools and people trying to make money and getting in and out, they're not being trained properly.
Right. Well, perfect example. But this is the biggest polarizing thing on the in wrestling last week is that big angle at the end of AEW where that guy was doing the shitty punches. Okay.
Did you see that, Felicia?
Yeah.
Okay. So everybody saw that. Everybody saw that.
That was.
And like, bro, it was horrible. And it's like the whole thing should have been like, yeah, that was horrible. That guy shouldn't have. Bro, the guy would be fired. Like a guy his work is that bad, they just wouldn't bring him back. So now the whole thing was like this big narrative and stuff and thing. And instead of like the narrative being the way it should have, that was the shits and they turned it into a thing like, oh, this guy's like the victim now. And it's like, people are saying bad things about it. He made a statement. It's like, and bro, in 2019, that just shows like when wrestling, we're having the wrong conversations. Like that was a big story. And everybody chimed in on it. Everybody like it was polarized and stuff. And the reality is pretty good shit that was terrible. That guy shouldn't be on TV.
The guy.
And it should just stop. That should be the end of the conversation. But now it's like hey guys, that was me. I was just trying to protect us against. It's just like all just like, oh my God, please, will you?
Disco, that wasn't him. That was a false confession.
It was a fault, yeah, because I predicted that the person that did it was Shark Boy.
That might be true.
I think that was. He had a
So
mask
who was
on.
the guy under the mask? Did he ever find out?
We don't know. Nobody knows. But
Yeah,
the
they're not gonna out him, but see, it'll
Bro,
come out.
no. You know what you find out?
Yeah.
They're keeping it secret, but like they use like some of the guys that were on TV earlier in the night that they put them in masks. But what if it was Marco Stunt?
It could have been Tony Khan.
Or Tony Khan, right?
Hey, Disco, what was your take on Tony Khan doing the stunner?
Just the same thing I've been saying for the past 6 months. Is the amount of errors made by people running major companies right now are just like too numerous to count. Every week is like, I'm surprised he didn't have. And he did.
It was off
He
the
had
air.
to know. I know it was off the air.
Yeah.
But you go out and do that. It's not hidden. Everybody's gonna see it. They're taking pictures. And everybody, like you had to know, being the head of this company, that was going to be a negative backlash of that. I mean, I'm fascinated that that happened. I mean, that guy didn't think that was going to be some negative pushback on that.
This clip will be called "Disco Inferno Buries Tony Khan's Massive Ego."
Yes.
Well, I don't care what you call it, but I mean, I would just say that if he was
you
going to
can
do
print
that, I would pull him aside and say, bro, don't do that. They're going to bury you on Twitter.
Well,
That's all. That's a conversation, bro. Don't do that. They're going to bury you on Twitter.
Are there any more
Yes,
letters,
yes,
Meathead?
yes.